Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Let's Talk About League podcast, the only podcast on the internet talking about the LCUS. This is episode 7 for Split 3. I'm joined by Sigtal Lord as always, and this week we have special guest Gregosaurus Rex from Take the Lantern and Trufflesaurus from Option 12. How are you guys doing tonight?
Outstanding.
I am doing fantastic.
It's all right.
All right. You heard it here first. So this week, this is the episode before week 7, coming off. Lots of stuff to talk about, playoff picture, and all that stuff. But to get us started, I just want to have Greg, Asaurus Rex, also known as Greg, talk about the LCUS Reddit a little bit. We just published it, and yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So we've actually had an LCUS subreddit for quite a while, but it's sort of been in a sad state of, I wouldn't call it disrepair. We just hadn't been doing any work on it. But Ace handed me the reins, for better or for worse, and at this point it's actually in pretty good shape. So you can post there. There's post match analyses after every one of our matches on Sunday. There's podcast prep talk, thread stuff like that. So go ahead and check it out. I will throw a link in the chat here for everybody to take a look.
Great. Thanks. Yeah, no, it's awesome that you're able to help us with that. We really appreciate it. We really just stole the URL and left it there to die before you came along to help. But with that, we'll just move right along into normal stuff. Since this is episode 7, we're talking about week 6. And the matches there. The first set of matches were between Team Blitzkrieg and Option 12, who, of course, we have one of the team members here from. Let's get started with you, Truffles. How did you feel those matches went? It ended up with a 2-0 for Option 12.
Well, I thought those matches were actually really good matches. I thought Blitzkrieg put a solid show on. I think one of them was pretty close, actually. I think Blitzkrieg had a lead there for a bit. So it never felt like we were completely out of control, but it did feel like we were on the back foot. I think it was game 2, if my memory serves. I thought they put on a good show. I just think that closing out the game is a challenge for them that maybe they can work on.
Yeah, they put on a good show every week, unfortunately. But that can't manage to pull out a win. This week they did weird stuff like the Garen and Darius bot lane, as well as the... And with that, we're back. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I guess we were talking about Blitzkrieg's funnel strategy that didn't funnel, and that's probably why it crashed. We were leaking or trash talking too much. One of the two.
Modern day Nom in its own right.
Yeah, our producer just decided to pull the plug real quick, but we're back with one less producer. But Truffles is AFK for a few seconds, but I'm sure he'll be back as well. What did you guys?
I'm here right now,
Hey,
actually.
he's back too. So and the YouTube people, since I'll just edit this out, won't even notice the difference. It'll be great. Anyhow, so yeah, what we ended on saying that the funnel just didn't happen for Karthus Nunu, right?
Yeah. And I don't know exactly when it cut out, but specifically, I thought it would have been really cool to see them try. I'm actually a little bit happy they didn't, because it's a little bit untested, and for all I know, they might have pulled out a victory. But if it wasn't Blitzkrieg versus me and versus Option 12, I think it would have been great to see a funnel strategy come out, just to see if it's competitive or just to see if it's something that can happen in a competitive sort of team where 5 people are working together and used to working together.
Yeah,
That's interesting you mentioned that, because I feel like if a team is gonna pull it, like give it a shot, it should be Blitzkrieg. They really have nothing to lose, right? So why not go for that crazy strategy that nobody's seen yet?
yeah.
Well, I called it last week. I said the Goon Stomp's going to bring it out, and he didn't play an ADC either game.
Yeah, no, and it's really too bad that they didn't do it. They probably just I don't think they practiced it at all, looking at their match histories. So I assume that they just picked it and then decided that it wasn't what they wanted to go with. which is just too bad because I think that's almost the last time we're going to be able to see the Karthus Nunu funnel, just due to the patch that just happened. But I don't know. Anyone else have anything about this set?
I like the double melee bot lane, but my bot lane didn't didn't feel too strongly one way about it or the other. But I do like that Blitzkrieg, excuse me, was experimenting with that and doing that sort of I don't off meta is the wrong word now, but that kind of crazy bot lane.
Yeah. I don't know. I just would think that like if you're gonna do something like that, Darius Garen probably isn't the best one to do. Like
I could probably think of a couple different combos, but
yeah, just it seems like most of them are still carry and support-ish champion because at the end of the day, one person's gonna be getting the majority of the gold, or both people are gonna be kind of weak. So I don't know. Just my thought. Set 2 was ended as a 1-1, and it was between Northern Storm versus More Cowbell. With Northern Storm taking game 1, despite Shaden and Brandana getting their signature champions of Camille and Lucian. And then we saw them come back with unconventional, quote-unquote, picks of Aatrox and Jace. What do you guys think of that set?
I recall watching it, and I recall being sort of incredulous that they lost when they were on their signature champions. And I believe I actually may have been speaking to you about this. As soon as game 2 started, we were like, Shaden is going to be very upset about that. And then he kind of popped off in the second game, so looks like that was the truth.
Yeah. No, that's...
He was out for vengeance.
Yeah,
right.
You could tell that Aatrox was out for vengeance. He was doing whatever he wanted to do that game.
I think it was fitting, too. It's like the last hurrah for Aatrox, because now he's completely different. So it was a good final showing for him.
Last hurrah for Aatrox, maybe the last hurrah for More Cowbell, as they don't play this upcoming week. And if they don't make it into playoffs, that would be the last game for them. So just to talk about Aatrox, Camille, and Shaden, what do you guys think about like one tricks in general? Do you think sometimes that, not that Shaden is a one trick, but just like, for me and with Anivia and even Limakis with Anivia and stuff like that, when we actually get to pull it out, sometimes we're just not used to playing it anymore, so we don't play it well. Do you think that had an impact? Do you think it was something else that made game 1 kind of snowball away from Cowbell?
I unfortunately missed the start of game 1 on this one, and I haven't had a chance to go back and rewatch it. So I'm not sure that I know, but just speaking in general to like being rusty on a champ, I at least on my champs that I know from like past seasons that I put a bunch of time on, even if it takes me 2 levels to remember how the champion works, I think stuff like one tricks and people who play a smaller pool of champions, I think it's not necessarily a rust factor, but sort of a expectations or you sort of feel the pressure of needing to perform because you've gotten your champion, and now so that's like a good thing, and now it's expected that you do well, and anything less than well is not great. So then that pressure kind of adds up.
Yeah. Plus the other team expects you to pick it if they don't ban it, so you'd hope that they have a strategy prepared to how to counter it. Like I assumed, it felt like the Darius that washed up top laner picked into the Camille was a pretty good, at least lane counter. And with the snowball that Pantheon had versus Rammus, which I never thought I'd say, it never got to a late game where Camille was able to just carry. Yeah. Anyone else have anything about this set number 2? No. All right.
I for one appreciate, or I not appreciate. I want to point out that I think More Cowbell was really really looking for that 2-0, and I think it's interesting or at least exciting that they ended up with the 1-1, because now we've got a 3-way race for 4th place to stay in the playoffs, and that wouldn't be a thing if Cowbell had just won both matches.
Yeah, I was about to say something very similar to that. You're right. That would makes it a lot more interesting at it's not really the bottom of the table, but like the bottom of the bracket for making it into playoffs.
Yeah.
Because at this point, it really could go any number of possible ways. So I'm very excited to see how it plays out in the next week.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect segue into set three. White Wolf lost to Team Take the Lantern, 2-0, 0-2, whichever way you want to say that. And if they would have gotten one game there, or if they would have 2-0'd there, they could have secured their playoff spot as well over the other teams. But no, now they're battling with Northern Storm and More Cowbell for the fourth place spot. And Take the Lantern with the 2-0 has secured their playoff berth. For me, one of the main takeaways I saw from this match was it was pretty meta, like old meta, where it was tanks, normal supports, mid laners, junglers, blah blah blah. Nothing unique there, but just two good games. Greg, you were in that match. What are your takeaways from it?
The first game I felt it's a little deceptive. It felt very one-sided, but it's deceptive in that, unfortunately, as everybody saw, White Wolf didn't get tier 1 bans. So I feel like when you put a bunch of Take the Lanterns players on their signature picks, naturally it's going to be a little bit more lopsided. The second game was also very interesting because we actually were behind significantly. But because we were playing more of a standard, in quotes, standard meta comp, I guess standard meta is no longer applicable, but with an 80 carry and with a normal support, it essentially the goal became to stretch it out as long as possible so we could scale up and eventually take the win. And that was a very, very difficult uphill climb. And they played it very, very well in the early game. They were kind of dumpstering us. I was inting almost, so very, very good games though, and I think it would have been very interesting had it been like a best of 3, or a best of 5. I guess it would have had to have been, where they had another set without any sort of ban penalties, just to see how it would have played out longer term.
Yeah. They did one of the, I'm gonna say, LCUS typical things that after losing game 1, they just took away everything. Well, not everything, but as much as they could of the first game's champions that beat them going into the second set. So even if White Wolf ends up playing Take the Lantern in the playoffs again, I think they were able to keep all of their big ban strategies secret, which is not something Take the Lantern could probably say. What about you, Truffle or Sig? Anything from watching this set?
I think it was a very well played set, and I won't talk about like what happened, but the fact that we made it to this crazy, insane meta, and the team that is known the most for doing the crazy stuff compared to everybody else, like, you know what? Let's just play safe today. It was disheartening. I was expecting like everything crazy, like 5 Sonas. I don't know what they should have done, but it shouldn't have been normal, and I'm disheartened. I want you all to know I'm disappointed.
They did pull out the Teemo top lane. There's that.
That's a strike against them, though. Come on.
And in Italy, right?
That's like taking your girl to Olive Garden for your anniversary. That don't count.
But there's all you can eat breadsticks. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
And speaking of my girl, Nidalee is one of my favorite champions to play, and so no offense, Take the Lantern, but I was kind of really hoping that Nidalee did well. But yeah, they had such a good first half of the game for that game too. Considering how dominant Take the Lantern, Take the Lantern always has a really solid late game. And I thought that this was one of the few times that maybe the early game lead was so insurmountable, because White Wolf Gaming is no slouch either. So it was just a really hype match. I was actually being very loud in my apartment while I was watching that match because I was so excited.
And that has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that you play Take the Lantern this week and want to have the first seed at all, right?
Oh wait, we play Take the Lantern next week? I had no idea.
Yeah, no idea. No idea. But yeah. So, anyone else have anything to say about week 6, or should we move on? All right, we'll move on. Patch impact time. Patch 8.13 came out early this morning. With the biggest part being Aatrox being reworked after he's just gained popularity again. So sucks for him. But I haven't seen him in a game yet. I've only played 2. I'll admit it. Anyone see Aatrox yet?
I actually have.
Any good? Any bad?
Yeah, in one of my ranked games I was playing just before this, there was a Aatrox top matched up into a Riven, and I ganked him a couple of times, but so he was fed, but he seemed good. The player was okay, but you could tell it was in new champion form because of course it is. But
It only makes sense he played in ranked.
yeah, right. That was kind of my first thought, but whatever. And I chose to feed him as the jungler, so that worked out okay. But he kind of 1v3'd a couple of times. He also tried to 1v3 a couple of times and failed. So I think that's just a knowing your fight kind of thing. But I think the champion itself is going to be good.
That's interesting that it was old Riven versus new Riven in the top lane. Interesting. Do you guys think that this Aatrox rework is going to have any impact on the LCUS? I know that White Wolf and Cowbell have both played Aatrox so far. I don't know. Do you think anyone's going to just practice it a whole bunch this week and pull it out on Sunday?
I feel like the only impact that could happen here is there will be less Aatrox in the LCUS. The core thing that I feel is missing from the new Aatrox's kit is that Dark Flight ability. The mobility that it provided before the rework was very good for both engaging and disengaging. He doesn't really have that now. So I don't see him seeing as much play because he's frankly just a little too immobile. Just my prediction. Shaden, if you want to prove me wrong, feel free, but that's just my guess.
That's fair. I feel like he does feel a little bit more like a Juggernaut and less like, Jax like he used to.
One thing I will, an observation about the game I did play with Aatrox in the game, while Aatrox wasn't able to get away from a couple of engages because of that lack of mobility, there's some there, but it's not a ton. His ability to move while dead in his ult, or his old passive, his death passive, whatever that is on, I think it's his ult. Now, his ability to move, he could actually just die and then run under a tower and then respawn. It's actually pretty powerful. So I'm not sure that the lack of escape is that detrimental. I actually think the lack of hard engage like that is actually the larger problem for Aatrox's new kit.
Fair. I wonder if his weird chains thing is gonna be a good escape or not, since you throw it at somebody and then they get pulled back to the center or whatnot. But I'll actually have to play versus the champion to have any idea. One of the other main changes in this patch seems to be to the death timers and bounties. They title it as early game snowball. They are trying to make it seem like it's a little bit less, makes it harder to snowball, but at the same time it kind of also looks like it's easier to snowball. With people's death timers being less at early levels. People can just die, 6 seconds faster.
That was actually my first thought. Sorry, I feel like I'm hogging the mic, but when I read that in the patch notes, I was like, Riot has clearly never played with a feeding bot lane before, so, or top lane or what have you. But I'm not sure that helps, because sometimes all I want is for my laners to not immediately int again. Yeah. So that's my 2 cents.
I feel like you have a very valid point. Probably at a high level of play, like professional certainly, and like high diamond stuff like that. Respawning faster and then you get back to tower and then you play safe and you don't die, yes, it's going to reduce snowballs there, but I think it actually might accelerate more in the lower ELOs, like you mentioned, because the 0-5 is going to run back really fast, and then they'll be 0-6. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Do you think that this could be a buff to any like specific champions? Like, people were talking about how it's probably gonna be better on people that take teleport because you save 6 seconds there. Things like MF, who also just gets back to lane super quickly already, 6 seconds faster even now, compared to like, of course, it's still only 6 seconds of distance, but like, just that it'll even be quicker for an MF to get back to lane if you kill her. Think that'll be any impact? Or you think it'll just be pretty much the same for everybody?
I mean, it's a 6-second impact on a 30-minute game. It's just kind of how I see it.
Well, if I die 10 times, that's all I'm saying. That's a minute more.
See, the only impact that can really happen, like if there's a huge team fight that's still going on when someone respawns, maybe. And then like the obvious answers like Hecarim or Rammus who run really fast, but
Yeah.
I don't know beyond that.
That's a fair point that I forgot about until now. Level 1 cheeses, right? You could probably kill 9 people now.
That's true.
Like, for real. If they're fighting against someone's jungle, you kill them, they'll be right back. In like,
All out level 1 brawl.
yeah. And
What do you think, Truffle? You want to do that in our match?
Yeah, sure, clearly.
Clearly.
Well, I'm just proud of Ace for being realistic, dying 10 times. I mean, are you speaking from match history, or are you just creating the correct expectation for people that watch?
Talking about this weekend, that's what's going to happen 10 times. But also, jungle invades, right? So you kill somebody in their jungle and you take their buff. Now they're back 5 seconds earlier, 6 seconds earlier. Are you going to be able to clear 2 camps, just 1 camp? Or are you just going to kill them again and get another kill? Hard to say. That also moves into bounty times. Not times, but just amounts. They now added gold for just getting 2 kills. And so on. So, hypothetically, shutting down people will be more valuable. But, I don't know.
The 150 gold bounty for killing someone, for shutting someone down with 2 consecutive kills. I do think that the snowballing needs to be slowed down, and maybe this is the right amount, but I feel like that's actually, it's too early of an activation for a shutdown bounty. Like 2 kills, that's just one bot lane winning over the other, or a counter jungle or a counter gank going one way. It's like, really already? Like,
Well, it's definitely bot targeted with the mechanics of the game. I mean, unless you roll a nat 1 in the top lane with the jungler with you, there's really very little opportunity for this to have high impact early game, except for the bot lane.
unless we have those 10v1 or the 10-1 jungle invades or whatever.
It's this hyper realism when you guys do analysis that let me know we're gonna have a good weekend.
No, yeah, I honestly didn't think about it bot focused, but it makes sense. Let's take any of the lanes that are going on right now, like the even Fiddlesticks, excuse me, Pike Lux, Darius, Garen, any of that stuff. You kill the bot lane, then suddenly the bot lane comes back and kills you and gets a 150 gold bonus. But at the end of the day, you still get more gold from killing the other people twice than they get from killing you back.
Yeah, it's like a 1 to 4, right?
Yeah.
If I've done my math right.
It's like, you get the 150 gold, they get 600 gold, there's a 450 difference. But I don't know.
Yeah, so
It'll be hard to say.
maybe it is dialed in right. Yeah,
No,
sorry.
but that just seems like a lot. Like, you don't think they would have started at like 100 gold instead of going all the way to 150? That just feels like a bunch.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then they also nerfed outer turret global gold a little bit, but who cares? Anyone else have anything about this patch?
The ADCs got buffed, but I'm no ADC. I'm awful at ADCs, so don't take it from me. But it's not. I don't think it was a particularly impressive buff.
I was hoping it was going to be giving them the base stats back, honestly. like everyone. Since I don't think giving them base stats back is gonna like make them broken again. It's just gonna make them maybe be able to lane. The base stats weren't even that big of a deal, and it evens out again at level 10 or whatever. But no, they just like buffed 2 ratios on like 380 carries, and they're pretending that's gonna be enough to make them come back into the meta.
Yeah, and I think the whole problem, and I'm probably repeating it for everyone, is that they don't get to their 3-item spikes anymore because the game is just so fast, right? It's more or less decided by that point.
Yeah, in my opinion as well. Yeah. A few cool nerfs. I'll say cool nerfs since I don't play these things. They nerfed E a little bit. That his Q doesn't clear minions as quickly. Camille's hookshot does a lot less damage at high levels. So I think that's a massive nerf to jungle Camille and a little nerf to lane Camille. Because lane Camille tends to max her Q, I believe. If Shaden's watching, please let us know. And jungle Camille tends to max her E, I believe, for more ganking. Yeah, those were the main ones. And then they buffed the Keystone nobody takes of Hail of Blades. But nobody takes that, so who cares? Anyone else have anything on that, or should we move on? Alright, cool. We'll move on right after this little note from our sponsors. Episode 7 of Let's Talk About the League is brought to you by The Simple Soyman. They are a local Milwaukee-based soy foods company that also produces salads, pie crusts, granolas, and things like that. They sell their items to Whole Food stores and grocery stores in the Milwaukee, Madison, and Chicago areas, as well as other places in between. Once again, that is The Simple Soy Man. All right, and with that, we're on to Week 7. Week 7 begins with Team Take the Lantern versus Option 12, the dinosaur matchup between Gregosaurus Rex and Trufflesaurus. And that should be a good matchup, as both teams are fighting for first place, second place, or third place, depending on how the week goes. Either team getting a 2-0 will secure the first place for them, and most likely put the other one into the third place position. So, Truffle, Greg, Asaurus Rex. What do you think about this week?
I am so hype about this, you have no idea. Not only am I looking forward to beating Take the Lantern, but I'm also looking forward to the dinosaur showdown that's about to happen because, you know, my name was Trufflesaurus, excuse me, in League of Legends long before Gregosaurus's, and I it's a point of pride for me.
First of all, you don't have a Rex at the end of your name, so your opinion is moot. Second of all, we actually were discussing this a bit. Like, you know, this is going to be pretty free. So we thought perhaps we would give you like a game handicap, but we sort of vetoed that idea because you're clearly sufficiently handicapped as it is. So not necessary.
I'm pretty sure that's not how handicaps work, but touche. I wanted to ask you, Greg. I know you were talking about your lower back was bothering you. I was kind of wondering why you chose the name Gregosaurus Rex because I thought it might have been Gigasaur Rex because you're so sick of getting carried by your team.
That's funny. And I was going to burn you about the whole being in bronze thing, but I do want to congratulate you. Finally, you made it to silver. Very, very good run in your promos. By the way, it's very good. It only took you like 7 seasons, but good job. Proud of you.
And I want to clarify, it took me 7 seasons to play 10 matches it took me 7 seasons to get to silver on 10 matches alone. That's the clarifying point. I never got out of bronze within 10 matches before.
Yeah, 10-0 in your placements. That's pretty good. All right. So one thing is, you know, I'm on Take the Lantern as well. I was wondering if Option 12 wants to leave Anivia up for both games and just, you know, see how that goes.
For both games?
Both games. We'll leave it up for both games too.
Okay. So you get it one match and Lycomachus gets it.
Yeah.
Joel, whatever his name is.
He's on your team. You don't know his name?
It's hard to pronounce, and I suck at names.
Hey, this is PG. We don't want to get demonetized.
Well, we ain't got to worry about that after them corny jokes. Nobody's watching anymore. I mean, you two dinosaurs did something the asteroid couldn't. You ended something. And
Well. So back on the match a little bit. So last split, split 2 of the LCUS. TL team Take the Lantern, not Team Liquid, demonetized. Paid by Steve. Played first place option 12 in the last week of the split. At that time, Take the Lantern was in last place, only of having won 1 match. And there was a little bit of a troll game too. The split, much different placement for Take the Lantern, but option 12 once again finds himself in first place. Do you guys think that there is an option for a fun game too, or are your teams both taking this super seriously?
Well, that depends on if we're leaving Anivia up or not. My inclination would be that we want first place. I mean, we're confident that playoffs is, we're in playoffs, that's fine. But I'm not content with second or third. And I feel like option 12 has been very, very good for 2 seasons straight. Let's take them down a peg. Might be more fun.
Fair enough.
Speaking for option 12, I know that we absolutely want first place as well. So myself, I'm not kidding. I do want to be the better of the 2 dinosaurs. That is an actual thing that I'm very excited to prove. But one thing I will say about a fun match is that I think mathematically that if option 12 wins 1 match, we secure first place because we have tiebreaker over Phoenix. So I think if option 12 wins the first match, there's potential that we have a little bit of fun with the second one.
I'm not sure if that's correct. I know you do have tiebreaker over Phoenix, but I believe that if they go 2-0, they will.
That might be the case.
They will bounce into first place.
I think the mathematics is irrelevant. You heard him. If we win game 1, I'm disrespecting you the rest of the time.
Well, they're not going to win game 1, so they don't have to worry about that.
Oh.
But no, you are correct. Phoenix has 9 points, so they'll bounce to 12, and you guys are sitting at 11. So, yes, you will be in first place if you win 1 game. But luckily, we don't have to worry about that.
Oh yeah, yeah. We both know that it's going to option 12 right away.
Yeah. All right. Sig, what do you think about this set?
I think it's going to be super interesting. I mean, despite your inflated egos, I have to tell you, you guys are some of the most talented players we have in the LCUS between Gregosaurus and Trufflesaurus. So I'm always hyped to see y'all play. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I know the real winner is us, the casters and the viewers. So I'm pumped.
Good. Glad to hear it. All right. Unless there's anything else between you 2 dinosaurs, should we move on to the second set?
I just want to say I hope it's a good game and may the best dinosaur win.
We will.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it at that. All right. Set number 2 is between the possibly first place team Phoenix and last place team Blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg is probably looking to get their win and repeat split 1 and 2 of having the last place team only of winning 1 match. Hopefully that happens and we don't have our first shutout of the split.
I don't think that'll happen.
You think Blitzkrieg's gonna pull through?
From the beginning, I've rode the Blitzkrieg hype train. It may be a hype unicycle right now, but I'm still riding. They have some of the most talented players in every lane. They just lack that leadership, and I got a feeling that they're gonna play spoiler this Sunday. They're gonna take care of business. They're going to leave their mark, ruin somebody's day. If you can't have a good one, ruin somebody else's. Sick. 2018.
They're going to play Kaboom here.
That's right.
That'd be cool. I look forward to it. I wonder if they're gonna do something unique again, or if they're going to go back to a little bit more meta stuff. Team Phoenix will be missing their top laner, Amaya-chan, this week, and he will be replaced by Five Loco Addict, who is subbed in previously, and it was part of the last 2 splits as well. So that'll be fun to see him take another swing at Great Beard of Odin, who he, funnily enough, played verse last time he subbed in as well. Yeah. Set number 3 is coming in, and this is probably the most important set of the week, despite the dinosaur battle. Team Northern Storm, who is fielding a sub top laner. Fat Lee is subbing in for washed up top laner. And White Wolf Gaming is playing versus them. If either team gets a 2-0, they make the playoffs. If it goes 1-1, neither team makes the playoffs. So, what do you guys think about this set? What do you think is going to be the defining factor here? Anybody?
I think it'll depend very heavily on which White Wolf shows up. Just going off of the match that we recently had with them, in the first match, I feel like they were, I mean, it was probably a combination of the ban situation as well as just being like frazzled by the fact that they had, you know, one of their guys was running a little late and then they just jumped right into it. But they played sort of timidly, and admittedly, they just couldn't really make it work, and then eventually just got choked out. But if they play like they did in the second match and can hold on to that lead, I think that they have the potential to do a lot of damage in this set.
Shuffles?
I'm not sure what I think. I think that there's a solid chance that the winner of the first game wins the second game just due to, I don't know, tilt or I'm not sure that the motivation is going to be there for the losing team. So if it's a close match, you know, I'm not sure that I would be able to put my best foot forward in the second match after getting kicked out of playoffs. So I think it's going to be a 2-0. The thing is, I just don't know which team is going to do it.
Yeah, that's a good question.
My tentative guess is on Northern Storm, but to me it's a 50-50. I just think it's going to be a 2-0.
Yeah, Northern Storm has definitely, I'd say, put up bigger highs, and I'd also say lower lows than White Wolf. And if they can just pull out the first one with a bigger high, I could see game 2 also going their way, despite their lack of a top laner. But Fat Lee has been known to be quite the player, so I'm sure that him being on their team won't be that much of a detriment compared to washed up. All right, and with that wraps up Week 7 preview, and we can move straight into question and answer. And the first question is, what do you think the playoff seeding is going to be? I personally think it's going to be Phoenix versus Phoenix. Then I guess it would have to be. No, I guess I can't. That can't be right, since thanks to Prowler's analysis in the chat, that if you 12 wins a single game, they will take first place. So I guess I'll have to go with 12 Phoenix, take the Lantern, and then I think Cowbell, since I think it actually might end up being a 1-1 in that last set. Then Cowbell will make it in. And yeah, anyone else have a guess they want to put out there?
Well, Take the Lantern's obviously taking first. After that, I'm actually going to say it's probably going to be 12, because I do have faith in Blitzkrieg to knock a game off of Phoenix. So they'll be in third, and then I'm actually going to go way out there and say White Wolf. playing against them, I was pretty impressed with how well they played. I think they could pull it out.
Sig, Truffle?
No comment.
No.
But
I do have a prediction. So, so if Sig is maintaining the observer status here and doesn't want to get his involved, so I think it's going to come down to a question of who wins between Northern Storm and White Wolf for fourth. But in first place, it's can 12 take a match off of Take the Lantern, and I think that it's a very close match up between the two teams. I think 12 can take a match off of Take the Lantern, so that would make it 12 Phoenix Take the Lantern if I've done my math right, and then I'm going to predict the upset for Northern Storm for fourth place.
Okay.
If I've done my math right.
Yeah, no, that's correct. Follow-up question, since we're going to be late anyways, when it will be super late. So the last two splits, we had Northern Storm win after they were first place in the regular season, and Option 12 win after they were first place in the regular season. Do you guys think that whoever comes out of the season in first place is going to manage to take the whole thing as well, or do you think it will still be up in the air?
I don't think it's guaranteed. I feel like for the vast majority of these sets, even the sets that have gone 2-0, they've been close. So you stretch that out to best of threes, best of fives. There's no guarantee that the higher seeded teams, even if they take a game or two, are going to be able to pull it out.
Yeah, I'm looking at the teams that, basically the 6 teams that people are predicting have a shot at playoffs, right? And I'm not sure that any of them are going to be easy matchups. There's been a lot more, I think, 1-1s this split than prior splits, although that's probably something the stats team has to figure out. I'm not keeping that close to track, but I don't think there's any team that couldn't beat us, beat Option 12 and any other team for that matter, given the right, circumstances, right? One thing I want to talk about last splits is that I think split 1 Northern Storm was like a clear. I think White Wolf Gaming gave them a good run for their money, but I think Northern Storm were the clear favorite. Sorry, White Wolf. In split 2, Option 12, I was on that team. Our biggest contender was Northern Storm again, but we had 2 of them in the season, so winning the playoffs also seemed reasonable. Maybe favorited, maybe not. Depends on who you asked. This split with all the 1-1s, I'm not sure. I'm not sure anything's clear cut.
Yeah, that's a fair analysis. Yeah, I'm not sure either. We'll guess we'll have to see when Take the Lantern takes first place this week. All right, all my bias gone, but. So, next question. What is the current state of the meta? This is a question from the Reddit, and it has 3 follow-up parts to it. What role is seems the least affected by the recent changes? Are AD carries essentially useless now, and is it quote-unquote dangerous to play ranked alone now with this new meta?
New Jersey. Yes. No.
Okay. Sweet tea. What about? I'll throw it over to Truffles first. What do you think about this question?
Sure. Just hit all 3, or do we want to dial
All
in
3.
into one? Okay. What role seems the most affected by the recent changes?
Least affected.
Least affected. Okay. Least affected, I think, depending on how far we go back, is probably top or support. Jungle, there were some pretty heavy changes a while ago. This is 3 or 4 patches ago already by this point. But even stuff like the funnel strats are messing up the jungle meta quite a bit. So I don't think jungle is unaffected. Mid and ADC are obviously very affected. So I think it's between top and support, and I'm going to give it to top because support has to support the messed up ADC meta.
And play Fiddlesticks.
And play Fiddlesticks. Are ADCs essentially useless now? No, but 90% yes. So, if that answers the question, there aren't many tanks anymore. So the main purpose of an ADC, or the main like insurance that an ADC provides, which is to be able to shred tanks, is kind of gone. So now it just needs to be able to. Now the ADC just needs to do damage, which the bot lane carry needs to do damage, which a lot of different champions can do. Is it dangerous to play ranked alone now with the new meta? The answer is no. I just went 3-0 today, and everything seemed okay. So I think it's safe to play ranked solo.
Greg?
Well, I'm gonna agree and disagree with you straight away, Truffle. Top is definitely the least affected. I can say with confidence from the support perspective that supporting regular AD carry is very, very different than supporting, say, a Jarvan or a Pantheon or something weird. And even if you're still playing the same champions, you're not playing the same way. So top is probably, and I know you sort of lean that way as well, top is probably the least affected. You're still on your island with wet noodle fights. It's, is what it is. Are ADCs useless? I do not think so. Maybe at high end play, maybe if it gets snowballing, but if you watched the games where, game goes to 40 minutes and Andy's killing everyone, or the game goes to 40 minutes and Brandana's killing everyone, I think it's pretty safe to say that that is not the case. It's just a matter of how the teams are playing. If you stall it out long enough, then they could still be pretty scary. Is it dangerous to play ranked alone? I mean, it's always been dangerous to play ranked alone.
Yeah.
People are terrible.
Yeah, I guess actually, let me throw in there. No more dangerous now than it was a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I pretty much agree with the gist of what you guys said. Here or there, tops least affected. Play what you want. AD carry is great if you can get to level 10 and like 3 items. It's just as good as it ever was. And bros don't let bros get axe murdered. Take a friend with you into ranked. So, yeah. I'll skip that one. So carry, support, or kill. I'm not exactly sure what that means too much, but the options are Shaco, Evelynn, and Talon. Let's start with you, Gregosaurus.
Well, I wasn't entirely sure what this question meant, but I opted to go with carry the Talon because in most of my games the Talon is feeding and I have to carry him. Support the Evelynn because in most of my games the Evelynn is killing everyone and I'm just there to make sure she doesn't die. And kill Shaco because nobody likes Shaco.
Fair. Sig?
I'm gonna carry Shaco because he doesn't get the TLC that he needs or deserves. He truly does have a beautiful heart. I'm gonna support Evelynn because I know what it's like coming from the Void, having to deal with that monstrous attitude. So she needs it right now in this stage of her life. And I'm gonna kill Talon because he knows what he did.
Okay. Truffles?
Yep. My interpretation was just a little bit different, but I went with Eve can carry, Talon needs to be supported, and Shaco should be killed.
See, I took the same context, but I went the other way. I went that Talon can carry. Shaco doesn't really need support, but I would like a good Shaco. He can carry me any day of the week. And I'll support him. That's fine. And then I hate Evelynn. Takes no skill. So, goodbye. What next question? Also from the Reddit. Thanks, Gregosaurus. What role seems to be the strongest / most impactful in the LCUS? Personally, I just feel it's the same role that's the most impactful in solo queue. Jungle. I just think jungle is the role that you want to play if you want to always have an impact on a game and be able to choose who's winning and losing. But that's just my thought. I don't play jungle right now, so I'm biased. Anyone else have thoughts on that?
I agree wholeheartedly.
I would actually go with mid, despite the fact that we often don't see that being the most impactful. I feel like it has a bigger picture impact. I would need to, crunch the stats to be sure, but I feel like abnormally large amount of the bans in these games go towards mid laners and go towards mid lane champ pools. And the fact that it affects pick bans so substantially before the game even starts suggests to me that it is playing a larger role than it appears to be.
That's fair. That's completely fair.
Can I chip in?
Sure.
No,
no, you can't. No, go away.
My bad.
Okay, sorry. No, that's fine. Go ahead.
So I suppose my initial answer here was actually bot lane, but I can certainly see an argument for jungle. I think it's kind of interesting. As a jungler, I feel that jungle is affected by the rest of the game as much as it affects the rest of the game. Maybe it affects the game disproportionate, but it's close. Especially with the new jungle changes and the need to control like vision on river and such like that. More so than before, I think that jungle can be affected by the lanes just as much as it can affect the lanes. And initially my answer was bot because in the LCUS specifically, there are a ton of fantastic bot lane players. I don't know what the average is, but there's a bunch of gold, platinums, and even a diamond bot lane player. And I just think that carry position is just that much more pronounced because all the players are good, but the best of the best are in bot lane. And I feel like that can make or break a game.
Fair. Well, I'm not going to argue that point. All right. So there was a question for us at the LCUS. Will the LCUS run the MSI idea this year where the first place team can pick either the third or the fourth place team to play against? So we already published the schedule before the first week of games, saying which teams would be playing, and like the first split and second split, we're just gonna keep it with 1 versus 4 and 2v3, especially without having side selection as an option and so on. It's the most fair to just leave it the way it's always been. But we will look into it for future splits.
And just for the for people who don't have that up currently, I believe it's fourth place faces first and third faces second, correct?
That is correct. And first and fourth play the first set, and third and second play the second set. Okay. Anyone have any final thoughts? Nope. All right. So, thank you guys for joining us. I'd like to thank you to we actually have 10 viewers. I'm sure only 6 of them are me. But there's at least 4 other people, and there's only 3 of you, so there's probably 1 person watching. But with that said, please make sure to subscribe on YouTube. We still need 60 more subs to be able to get our custom URL, so you all have YouTube channels. Subscribe. Please consider subscribing on Twitch. Your Twitch Primes or regular monthly subscriptions are definitely helpful, and they help us improve the league in tons of ways that you guys have not yet to see. Also, donations will be coming live in the next few weeks with a few announcements as well regarding that. The feedback form will be coming out after week 7. It will be coming out in the middle of the week around the time of the podcast. And please make sure to fill that out even if you don't intend to sign up for Split 4 or if you haven't played. There's a ton of useful questions for us about how we did, if you guys enjoyed it, all that fun stuff. And so once again, thanks to our guests, Trufflesaurus and Gritosaurus Rex, for joining us. Make sure you check out all the matches, especially the dinosaur matchup, which is the first set this weekend. Well, that was the longest outro I've ever had, but yeah. Thank you guys. Signing out.